They say a heart can hold many things: grief, hope, secrets. Mine held a man for 31 years, and not even my children knew. My name is Ruth. I'm 78 years old. I've been a widow for 14 years, a mother of 3, a grandmother of 6, and a faithful wife to the same man for over 4 decades. At least, that's what everyone thought. This isn't a story I ever planned to tell, but I'm nearing the end of my story now, and I suppose some truths deserve the light. I met my husband Walter in 1966. He was kind, gentle, and predictable. The kind of man who mowed the lawn every Saturday and never missed a mortgage payment. We married the next spring, had kids quickly, built a life that was steady and good. But comfort isn't the same thing as connection, and reliability doesn't always equal love. The first time I met James, it was a Thursday afternoon at the library. I was 39, a school teacher, wearing a plain blue dress and looking for a poetry book I could read to my students. He reached for the same book I was holding. We both laughed, made awkward small talk, and I remember thinking, God, he has kind eyes. He was visiting town for a month, a guest lecturer at the college down the road, divorced, childless, soft-spoken, well-read. There was something alive about him. We talked every Thursday after that, just inside the library, just for a few minutes. But it started to feel like the only air I could breathe. One day, he invited me to coffee. I said no. The next week, I said yes. It was innocent at first, just coffee, just conversation. But something shifted. I started to notice how dull the silence with Walter had become, how invisible I felt in my own home. James saw me, not the mother, not the wife, me. And once you've been seen like that, it's hard to go back to being invisible. We never ran away together, never crossed certain lines, but I loved him. That's the truth. I loved him fully, quietly, with everything I had left. He left town at the end of that month. Like he said he would. I cried in the car after saying goodbye, then drove home and made meatloaf for dinner like nothing had happened. But that wasn't the end, not even close. 2 months later, I got a letter from him, postmarked from Chicago, just a few lines. Number, declarations, no promises. Just, I saw a woman reading in a park today and thought of you. Hope you're still reading poetry. I wrote back. And so it began. 31 years of letters, real, handwritten, mailed in a stamped envelope letters. We never emailed, never called, just pen and paper, always signed with a different name. To anyone else, it would have looked like old friends catching up. But to me, those letters were the only place I ever truly existed. I kept them in a shoebox under the false bottom of my dresser drawer. Every month, I waited for them like a teenager. Every word he wrote about books, about life, about growing old, felt like oxygen. Walter never knew, or if he did, he never asked. He was a good man, but he never asked me about my dreams. James did. Every letter ended with a question. What do you wish you had done this month? What did you see that made you feel something? We only saw each other in person 5 times in 31 years. Always brief, always careful. Once in Chicago, once in Cleveland, 3 times when he passed through Indiana. Nothing scandalous, nothing a stranger could condemn. But our eyes said everything we see. OULDN single quotes. That in 2008, the letters stopped. I waited 1 month too. I wrote again. No reply. Finally, in May, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. It was his niece. She'd found my letter among his belongings. James had died quietly, in his sleep after a short illness he never told me about. She asked if I was a family friend. I said, yes. Something like that. After the funeral, she mailed me something, a wooden box with my name carved into the lid. Inside were all the letters I had written, every single one, carefully saved, bound with a ribbon, and one last letter from him. It read, I loved you for 31 years, not in secret but in silence. I hope one day you'll tell someone that we existed, even if it was just between the pages. I haven't. Not until now my children think I was always theirs, that I only ever belonged to their father. And in some ways, they're right. I gave Walter the years, the meals, the holidays, the laundry. But I gave James my mind, my heart, my words. I don't regret loving him. I regret not holding his hand when he died. I regret all the poems I never got to read him aloud. But I don't regret the life I lived. I was faithful in all the ways that mattered, just not in the way people expect. We all have a story no one knows. This was mine. Now let me ask you this, ... What would you do if the love of your life lasted 3 decades, but lived only in letters? Would you tell someone, or carry it with you forever? Tell me below. No shame, no judgment, just truth. And if you stayed with me through the end, hit subscribe. This is where the real stories live.